and welcome to this week's edition of the Record Rangers podcast. I'm Gavin Berry. Once again, I'm joined by the Sunday Mail's chief football writer, Scott McDermott, and later on we will have a very special guest. We're going to get Robert Pritz on, who had a foot in both camps as a former Malmo and Rangers player, so we'll get his thoughts on the game later. But Scott, first of all, 2-1 defeat. It goes without saying, doesn't it? If it wasn't for that Steve Davis goal, and with 15 seconds left, then they're staring down the barrel of an exit, really, aren't they? But that changes the whole complexion of the tie, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's a huge goal, or it felt like a huge goal for Rangers, Gav, it coming so late. Didn't think the performance was great. Probably echo what Steven Gerrard said afterwards. Certain aspects of Rangers' game and performance that he wasn't happy with. Listen, it was a kind of 5 minutes of madness when Malmo scored the 2 goals. Rangers seemed to kind of lose their head, lose their shape. But as Gerrard said himself, it could have got worse at that point. I mean, if Rangers didn't compose themselves, I mean, a third goal, as you were watching it, you felt a third goal might have been coming and would have probably killed the tie completely. But obviously, Rangers, to their credit, they did kind of plug away towards the end. I thought they made a couple of tactical changes. Sakala coming off the bench gave them something different. A key thing I thought late on was getting Ryan Kent more central as they were looking for that goal. I thought Kent looked far more dangerous when he kind of played between the lines and came off the sides. And listen, as I say, Davis' goal, they got a wee bit of luck with the deflection, but they did have kind of 5-10 minutes of pressure where he felt something might come for them, and it did just in the nick of time.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we've seen it so many times with the Rangers in the last 30 years and other Scottish clubs. It's always that problem, isn't it, with other teams are fitter, especially in Scandinavia when they're well into their league. So you've got to take that into account, I suppose. Other areas, maybe. So they're going to have a Dundee United game on this weekend, Saturday lunchtime. So they'll have another 90 minutes under their belt. Could have a full house next week. So, it's still all to play for. However, having said that, there might be other things you could pick up on. What did you think? I know John Lundstrom's getting a bit of criticism. Is it unfair, or did you feel they missed Glenn Kamara, who was obviously suspended?
I think they're always going to miss Kamara, especially in European games, Gav, just because of the composure he's got in the middle of the park, his technique, keeping possession, his passing's always accurate and crisp, and Kamara's an ideal European type player, and that's why Gerrard always plays him in those games. So they were always going to miss him. Lundstrom is completely different. He's more about running power and physique and getting into the box, trying to get forward. So it was always going to be a bit different. Did I think that midfield three worked? Probably not. With Arfield and Lundstrom, both of them, particularly early on in the game, I thought just didn't look up to the pace, were a bit off it. But I think Malmo deserve credit for that, because I just don't think Arfield and Lundstrom, two guys that want to get forward, I just don't think they were allowed to, because Malmo get in about Rangers, put them under pressure, spooked them a wee bit with the shape, going with kind of two up top. So it's a difficult night for Rangers midfield. I don't know how often you'll see that midfield three playing together again. What I would say about Lundstrom is I actually thought he'd get better as the game went on, and late in the second half when Rangers were pushing, I was actually quite impressed with him, how he was trying to make things happen. I mean, he didn't really get the opportunity to get into the box and produce one of those kind of trademark runs or finishes that we saw at Sheffield United quite often. But I was at least impressed with his mentality in terms of going and getting the ball and taking responsibility and trying to make things happen. So I wouldn't be too critical of him. I just felt overall the team performance wasn't great. And of course, listen, they're missing a lot of players. You mentioned Kamara, they're missing Morelos, Roof, Aribo obviously looks as if he's picked up an injury. I mean, you're talking about established first team players that were so key to Rangers in Europe last season. And listen, at 2-1, I know the away goals are obviously scrapped, but what it means is, you get back to Ibrox next Tuesday. Rangers know they have to win the game. If they win the game, the very least they'll get is extra time, and that's not too bad a position to be in, given the performance last night.
Yeah, I mean, we've touched on the midfield. The defence would probably have been untouched regardless of who was available.
Yeah.
Kamara's not going to be available for the return leg, so we need to deal with what we've got. Itten was given his chance up front, led the line quite well, I would say. I don't know what you thought, but Morelos, again, is the one that probably, he's one that he would have played if available, and may well be available for next week. We saw the footage of him doing the shuttles around the Glasgow Airport car park. I don't know if you saw that, but he's one that would make a difference, isn't he? So, how much do they miss him?
Well, I think they missed him hugely. He's their number one striker. With the job he's did for them in Europe. I know he's had his faults, Morelos, but European-wise, he's been terrific for Rangers, particularly away from home. I would argue when you need your central striker to get you up the pitch and hold it up, win fouls, bring others into play, stuff like that. So it was a massive miss. I thought Itten did okay, but I think you still need more from him. At one point in the first half, you could see Gerrard on TV screaming at him from the touchline to hold the ball up better, because it was a passage of play where it just bounced off him and he was kind of out-muscled by the defender. So he's got to improve certain aspects of his game. Itten, I know he's still relatively young, but for Rangers, if he's going to have a good career at Rangers and really make the grade, he's going to need to improve. There were other wee things. I saw him at times when Kent get the ball wide left, Itten was kind of coming across and coming into Kent's space and want to play. You don't do that with Ryan Kent. You isolate him with a defender and you let him go and get at people and get in the box. So I think there's certain aspects of Itten's game that have to improve. He's going to need to learn. But listen, Morelos was a huge miss, and of course, it raises the argument again: could Rangers have gotten back sooner? I know we touched on this last week. I know a lot of Rangers fans will probably disagree with this. I've looked at a lot of their online comments, but I just think from the club's point of view, you've got £40 million Champions League qualifiers to get you into the group stage. You know it's coming. You know the dates. You know that Kemar Roof suspended, Jermaine Defoe unavailable. And I know that Morelos was at the Copa America, like every player. Of course he has to get a break. But could Rangers, at the Copa America, Morelos, he didn't play a lot of football. He was training every day. He was in the squad, but didn't actually play in any games. So his fitness would have been there. His sharpness would have been there. I think you have to raise the question and say, could they have got him back sooner and said to him, listen, we know that you need a break, but there are international breaks coming up, September, October, November. There are other periods in the season, I think, where Rangers could have said to him, listen, go away for a couple of weeks and get that kind of well-earned break that you should have got in the summer. I just think the importance of these games, if Rangers go out, and obviously there's a chance of that, listen, I still fancy them to get through, but if Rangers go out and Morelos has been unavailable for these games, I still think it will be a huge regret, and they'll feel that they could have done things differently.
Yeah, I've seen two camps here. It's very much split. There are people who say, we pay his wages. This is, as you touched on, the importance of the game, the financial importance and the prestige. Get him back, and that's it. No questions asked. And then there's other people saying, well, wait a minute, there's a human element to this.
Yeah,
the guy's been on the go since whenever. I think was his child's christening, getting baptised, was there pictures of, I don't know, there have been family occasions of things where he would then be within his rights to say, well, no, wait a minute, I've been on the go since 12 months solid here. You can't.
Listen, I get that. If he was desperate, needed a holiday or a break, no, you can't. Even the club wouldn't want to argue with that, because I say there's regulations in place with UEFA and FIFA and stuff. So I understand that. I just think the fact that he didn't play a lot at the Copa America, it wasn't like he was playing games every few days. He was training every day just to keep him ticking over. I just wonder in my own head whether Rangers or the management team will look at it and think, no, should we have just gotten back after Copa America to make sure he was fit, he was ready for these games, and then, as I say, later in the season there will be opportunities come up. As I say, these international breaks. You could have pulled out a Colombia squad or whatever, whether it's friendlies or whatever. I just think there would have been opportunity. I think it's been done before with players at other clubs. I even think, you'll maybe correct me if I'm wrong, or certainly somebody will pick me up if I'm wrong, but I think Martin Boyle at Hibs, even this season, I think he was away in Australia, maybe in Kuwait for a game or whatever, and certainly was entitled to a longer break. But I think decided to come back because he wanted to be involved in the Europa League qualifiers or whatever. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I just think there was an opportunity probably to get him back a bit sooner. And I hope Rangers don't regret that, because he's obviously a big miss.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the other thing is, it's such a unique situation with the whole COVID thing,
of course,
and all that, and the fact that, there's so many factors. Anyway, Scott, I spoke to Robert Pritz earlier. I teed him up. He said he's going to join us on the podcast, signed for Rangers from Malmo. Spoke to Mel and he said he would come on, but I think when I spoke to him, he said he was out for an afternoon session with a few of his pals who were Malmo fans, but he said he's going to join us later from the pub, so he's kindly agreed to join us. But a bit before our time, I think, 82 to 85, played the 79 European Cup final for Malmo, lost to Nottingham Forest, joined Rangers, very classy player by all accounts. Yeah. Just at Rangers at the wrong time.
Yeah, I do remember him, Gav, growing up. He was quite a distinguished player, and obviously with the kind of blonde locks there wasn't too many foreign players kicking about, so he does, Pritz, that name always stood out to me. Even I was born in 1980, so I was young, but I do remember him, and everything you heard about him was just so cultured in terms of that passing ability and the level he'd played at. And even later in his career, he obviously hung around in Scotland and played with different teams, even went junior at one point. But I can't remember if I was playing in it or just watching it, but he played in a lot of charity games when he was in his 40s. And I remember even watching him there and thinking, God, what a player this guy is, or what a player he would have been at 25. Do you know what I mean? He was fit as a fiddle as well. So, a great guy to go on.
And 56 caps for Sweden as well. So
brilliant.
Thanks for joining us, Robert. How are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Well, without the result, yeah.
Without what, sorry?
Without the result from last night. So, I think Rangers didn't play as well as they can do. And I think they got a chance because they got that one goal in the end of the last minute.
Yeah. You think that changes the tie?
Pardon?
You think that changes it, the goal? Do you think the goal at the end changes everything?
Oh yeah, I think so. Because now they got a chance. And, Malmo is playing their season just now. So they're more match fit than Rangers are.
Yeah. What is the reaction? What is the reaction this morning in Sweden? What is the reaction to the result and the performance and the late goal? How are they reporting it?
Well, everybody thinks Malmo played brilliantly, and they did really well, to say. And I think Malmo did well as well. I didn't believe they could do it, but he did it. So.
The feeling is that Malmo played as well as they could, and that Rangers didn't play as well as they could. What do you think? Is that the best we can expect from Malmo?
Well, I think they always race in the games in the Champions League, Malmo, and they do well every time in the Champions League. And I would say, I think Rangers got a hard game. Even in Ibrox.
You think so, yeah?
And Well, they haven't played so well in the league, but moreover, they still, when it's like Champions League, they raise themselves. I don't know how, but they do. Every year after year. And they've done it in the past, and I think they're doing now as well.
Yeah. So did they surprise you? Did the performance really surprise you last night? Did they play better than you expected?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I would say I didn't think Malmo was going to be that good yesterday, and they were really good.
Yeah.
And, well, Rangers didn't play up to their standard, I think. I think they can do better as well. But I still think it's going to be a tough game for Malmo. The 2-1, they only need 2-0, and then you're through. So I still think Rangers will make it.
Robert, see with the late goal last night, how do you think that'll affect Malmo psychologically getting into the second game, because they look so devastated at losing that late goal?
Yeah, well, with that goal, it helps Rangers a lot. And I mean, now they're taking away the away goal. There's no difference there. So even if Rangers winning 1-0 in full time, it'll go to extra time.
Yeah.
But and if they got, I don't know how many they would take in Ibrox now. But if the supporters are there, that makes a difference. A lot of difference.
Were you a bit disappointed in Rangers' performance last night? Did you expect better?
Yeah, I was expecting better. Yeah, because I've been following them since I left anyway. So I mean, yeah, I was a little bit disappointed. I thought they were better, or could have played better. But I said, Malmo is playing the league just now, so they've got more games in hand, and they're just starting the league up now again in Scotland. So, I mean, another couple of games, and I think, but it will be difficult for Malmo to win, I think.
Yeah. Who did impress you most in the Rangers side? Who were you impressed? Stephen Gerrard said he was Philip Hilander and Stephen Davis were two players that stood out. Did those two players stand out for you?
Yeah, they were good, but still expecting more from Rangers anyway. And I know they got good players. They got really good players, but yesterday they didn't show much.
How do you think Malmo will approach the second game, Robert? Do they come here and sit in deep, kind of deep defensive block, or do they go for Rangers and try and get that third goal in the tie to kill it off?
No, what I've seen so far in this league in Sweden, he will probably go for the defence and try to sit back and hold out. But if he does that, then it will cost him.
Yeah, it looks as if Ibrox could be full for the second game if Rangers get permission. That would be a big factor, eh?
Oh, definitely. Oh, yes. I mean, if you got a 52,000 crowd, Ibrox, now you've got the best supporters in the world, and they're sitting there singing. Come on. There's only one way to go then. There's Rangers.
What do you remember of your European nights? Did you play against Inter Milan in the UEFA Cup for Rangers, and did you play against Porto? I know that was the games when you were there. Did you play in those matches at Ibrox?
Yeah, I remember, and I still got the chill. Now you can't see my hands, but I still got the chill. And I remember playing Inter Milan. We got beat 3-1 at home, and we lost 3-0 away. But we outplayed them at Ibrox because of the crowd.
Yeah. Do you think the crowd can be a factor again next week? Definitely.
Oh yeah, different. Oh yes, without saying anything, if you got that crowd behind you, like Rangers have, they will win the game.
Yeah. How happy were you just to see Rangers win the league last season after 10 years? What did it mean to you?
Absolute brilliant.
Yeah.
Can't say more. Winning with over 20 points, come on. So it's absolutely brilliant. I was so glad they did it, and Gerard have done brilliantly.
Yeah.
But then they always have to raise the players because they did really well.
Yeah. Because you obviously were not lucky enough to win the league during your time in Glasgow, were you? But you did win the League Cup.
Oh, that was great. I mean, playing against Dundee United, we won the game, and it was just fantastic.
You obviously sad news last week as well with the captain Ali Dawson during your time in Ibrox, the captain passing away. That's sad for you when you heard of that news.
Yeah, my ex-wife phoned me. She said Ali's passed away.
Yeah.
It's sad to hear. He was my friend.
You were good friends also, yeah.
My best friend. He took care of me when I came over here. He did too.
Is that right?
And we've been in touch with each other. We worked together in Hamilton. What can I say? He was brilliant.
Yeah. Okay.
What he's done for Rangers.
Yeah.
The Rangers supposed to be really, really, really good.
Yeah. When you finished your career at Hamilton, didn't you? That was the end of your career, and that was your last club, yeah.
Well, more or less. Say I went to East Fife, a couple of games, and but that was it. I played with Pollock as well, and it's a great time. You know, you miss football.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, I can't. I got a problem with my knees, but I still miss football, and I love it with all the heart. And to be sitting in Ibrox is my best wish.
Is that right? Are you going to come back over?
I hope so. I really, really hope so, because I want to be there.
Are you living in Malmo, or where are you living in Sweden, Robert?
Well, I came back 2008, but more or less I've been living in Glasgow for 26 years.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the best people in the world.
Yeah. Was it quite emotional watching your two former clubs last night, Malmo and Rangers? Obviously, the two clubs that are closest to your heart. Was it quite emotional for you?
It is, because I would have hoped they wouldn't get drawn against each other.
Mm-hmm.
But now it happened. You got, but still, Rangers is in my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you wish you didn't leave? Do you regret leaving when you did?
Pardon?
Do you regret leaving Ibrox when you did? Do you wish you had stayed longer?
Yeah, I did, because I want to play. But problem was I didn't play enough because I was still playing with the national team. So I had to move, but I would have stayed, especially under Jock Wallace.
Yeah.
What would it mean, Robert, for you to see Rangers back in the Champions League group stages? How good would that be?
it would be brilliant, honestly, absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's a team in my heart. And I just saw a Piqué shirt with a Rangers playing, with a Swedish flag and a Scottish flag.
Yeah. What are you doing today then, Robert? Are you just out enjoying having a few drinks?
Pardon?
I'm saying, what are you doing today? Are you just out with your friends talking about the game from last night and having a few drinks, or?
Yeah, we out sitting there with a couple of friends, and they said, "Well, you're Malmo. No, I'm not really."
Yeah. So you
said no, I'm Rangers.
You said you're Rangers.
Always a Ranger, then you're always a Rangers.
Yeah.
And
what?
I can't believe it when I first time I walked into Ibrox, walking up the stairs, it's unreal.
Yeah.
And it's in my mind.
Yeah. And you had obviously played in the European Cup final, so you were playing for a good team, a good Malmo team, but you had no hesitation in joining Rangers, no?
Yeah, okay. I played with European Cup final 79 with Malmo, but still, when I came to Glasgow, and I spoke to John Gregg and Ali Dawson and all them sitting there. Wow, I'm home. That's what I felt.
Is that right? It felt like coming home?
Yeah. It's unreal, really, but that's the way I felt. I'm home.
Yeah. And did it take a while to adapt to the style of football, coming from Sweden to Scotland?
It was tough to begin with, because they were just running 100 miles an hour. They didn't know how to pass the ball. But I learned them that. I taught them that. So, and when I played with one of the best, I would say one of the best in the world, really, is David Cooper.
David Cooper, yeah. Yeah.
Do you think David Cooper could have played anywhere in Europe, Robert, at his peak?
Oh, yeah. Oh, without a doubt. He would have been a success in Europe. But he didn't want to leave Scotland at all. So.
No. Well, you played against Nottingham Forest, who were then the champions of Europe. They beat you in the final. Would he have played in that Nottingham Forest team? No problem.
Well, we thought we were like a working team. We only trained 3 times a week. We were not professionals.
Yeah.
And I mean, eventually they were a better team. I think they were more trained. Not trained, but they were more fitness.
More fit, yeah. They were fit, yeah. No, I'm talking about Davy Cooper. Could he have played in that Nottingham Forest team, for example?
Pardon?
For example, could Davy Cooper have played in that Nottingham Forest team that were the best in Europe? Could Davy Cooper have played for them? No problem?
Oh, no problem. No problem at all. There was no problem at all. He would have gone into anything. That's how good he was. Everybody knew he has only got one left foot. So let him use his right, but he always got a crush with his left foot.
Yeah. How did you enjoy the whole culture of Glasgow when you came? Like, obviously there would have been players like, well, you mentioned the likes of David Cooper and Ali McCoist, and how did you adapt to that kind of thing? Like the socialising and all that. Did you enjoy all that side of Glasgow? Yeah,
he was brilliant, and Coist, what he's like. So, and I had a great time, really, and always enjoyed the life in Glasgow. And I mean, that's home for me, really. And even though I'm here now, I came home for my mum's sake, and I still miss Glasgow so much. It's unreal.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you watch Rangers every week on the television every week?
As much as I can, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love football, still love football. So, and I love you. I love your accent.
Well, Robert,
And I know I've got the same.
yeah. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us today after the game, and it sounds as if you're a busy man today, so we'll let you get back to your friends and talk about the game.
Okay. Take care now, my friends.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert.
All the way to the supporters for me.
We will. We'll be listening to this so they can hear your message.
Cheers.
Thank you, Robert.